Never drink coffee with these 5 foods if you're over 60, or you risk clogging your arteries. There was a 75-year-old man who drank coffee every single morning for decades, usually 2 cups each morning, and his doctor confirmed the habit was perfectly fine. And honestly, the research backs that up. Coffee has real documented benefits for your heart, your arteries, and your blood pressure. But here's the twist. This man died from a massive arterial blockage, and when his family sat down with the cardiologist afterward, the doctor pointed to something most people would never suspect. It wasn't the coffee itself that caused the damage, but what he put in it and what he ate alongside it every single morning for years. Today, I'm calling out 5 specific foods that cancel out coffee's heart protective properties and quietly sabotage your arteries over time. If you're over 60, this matters even more because your body handles these compounds differently now. Stick around for number 3 because it is the one mistake almost everyone makes without even realizing it. Ready? Let's dive in. Here's the thing nobody tells you about your morning cup of coffee. Hidden inside every sip are natural plant chemicals that do 2 very important things for your body. They help keep your blood pressure in a healthy range, and they help stop harmful growths from forming inside your blood vessels. When those chemicals are working the way they should, they essentially starve arterial plaque, cutting off its ability to grow and harden over time. Think of it like a shield that wraps around your arteries every single morning. The problem is that shield is a lot more fragile than you might think. And after 60, that shield becomes more important than ever. Your arteries are already working harder than they used to, your blood pressure naturally starts to creep up, and your body produces more inflammation than it did when you were younger. But here's the problem. That protective window your coffee creates every morning is surprisingly easy to break. Some foods actually stop your gut from soaking up those helpful plant chemicals before they can even get into your bloodstream. Others cause such a fast and intense reaction in your body that the benefits of your coffee never even get a chance to kick in. The 5 things we're about to cover are not just random snacks. Some of them block absorption directly, while others trigger an inflammatory response that wipes out every benefit in your cup. One of them is even something a lot of people think is a health food. Let's break down why these combinations are so dangerous, starting with the silent saboteur sitting on most kitchen counters right now. Alright, number 1 is non-dairy creamer, also known as coffee whitener. This stuff is everywhere because it's cheap, shelf-stable, and makes a bitter cup of coffee taste smooth. But if you read the label, you'll find partially hydrogenated oils, which are just a fancy name for trans fats, mixed with corn syrup solids and chemical additives. Trans fats are directly linked to spikes in LDL cholesterol, elevated blood pressure, and massive inflammation in your arteries. Here's what makes it even worse when you're drinking coffee specifically. Those processed oils coat your gut lining like a layer of plastic, blocking your body from absorbing the healthy chemicals in the coffee. You aren't just adding something harmful to your mug. You are actively slamming the door on the good nutrients before they can get into your system. If you really want something creamy, a splash of whole milk or unsweetened oat milk is a much cleaner option that won't interfere with nutrient absorption. Okay, number 2 on our list is sugary flavored syrups and pre-sweetened creamers. Vanilla, caramel, and hazelnut are staples at coffee shops and in most home kitchens. Just a single pump of flavored syrup can pack 5 grams of sugar or more, and most people use 2 or 3 pumps. That sugar causes a rapid blood glucose spike right at the moment your body is supposed to be soaking up coffee's anti-inflammatory powers. Once you pass 60, your insulin response naturally slows down, which means that spike lasts longer, does more damage, and drives up blood pressure before your body can finally clear it out. You are essentially taking the anti-inflammatory window that coffee opens and slamming it shut. Try adding a dash of cinnamon to your grounds before you brew instead. It gives you a hint of sweetness, and since cinnamon has its own anti-inflammatory properties, it actually works with the coffee rather than against it. Now we're getting into the part of this list that genuinely surprises people. Number 3 is something sitting in most kitchens right now, something that has been marketed as a health food for decades, and there's a very good chance you had it this morning without giving it a second thought. Number 3, and this is the one almost nobody thinks about, is margarine or butter spreads on toast eaten right alongside your coffee. This is what I call the health food trap. For decades, margarine was marketed as the heart-healthy alternative to real butter. The truth is that many margarines still contain partially hydrogenated fats, and even the newer versions are often loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. In large amounts, these fats drive up inflammation throughout your entire body. When you eat them at the same time you drink your coffee, they bind with the chlorogenic acids in your gut and prevent absorption. Coffee with toast and margarine is probably the most default breakfast in the Western world, and it is quietly working against your stroke prevention efforts every single morning. If you want something to spread on your toast, try mashed avocado or a small amount of natural nut butter. The fat profile is significantly better for your heart and won't interfere with what the coffee is trying to do. Number 4 is processed breakfast meats like bacon, sausage, and breakfast ham. Coffee and bacon feel like a classic duo, but here's the catch. Processed meats are loaded with sodium nitrates. Sodium alone is one of the most well-documented drivers of high blood pressure. And when you combine nitrates with a heavy saturated fat load, you create a massive oxidative stress response that can encourage blood clot formation and accelerate the buildup of dangerous plaque. The plant chemicals in your coffee are powerful antioxidants designed to fight that stress, but the sheer amount of damage a single serving of processed meat creates is enough to overwhelm anything the coffee can do. You're essentially trying to pour water into a bucket with a giant hole in the bottom. Okay, one left on the list, and I want you to stay with me for this one because it is the most common pairing of all 5, and according to the research, the one doing the most consistent long-term damage to people over 60. If you only change one thing after watching this video, make it this. Number 5 is combining coffee with pastries, muffins, and anything made with refined white flour. Refined white flour is essentially a stealth sugar because it breaks down into glucose almost the second it hits your tongue. This causes a blood sugar spike that is often faster than straight table sugar, and that spike triggers a full-blown inflammatory cascade through your veins that raises blood pressure, strains arterial walls, and increases the risk of blood clot formation. The protective window the coffee opens gets completely drowned out. For those of us over 60, the metabolic recovery from a glucose spike like this is much slower than it was at 40, which means the damage compounds day after day, year after year. Try a handful of walnuts or a small bowl of berries instead. Both support the same vascular and stroke prevention benefits the coffee is already working hard to provide. Think back to that 75-year-old man. His mistake wasn't the coffee because the coffee was actually trying to work for him. His real mistake was what he chose to pair it with every single morning for years, and those small, seemingly innocent daily choices quietly undid every benefit the coffee was trying to provide. The takeaway is simple. Black coffee is a powerful tool that protects your arteries, helps regulate blood pressure, and supports long-term cardiovascular health. A small amount of whole milk is perfectly fine, but the 5 things we walked through today, non-dairy creamer, sugary syrups, margarine, processed meats, and refined flour, each chip away at that protection in their own way. Which one of these are you currently guilty of having with your morning cup? Drop a comment below and let me know, because I'm genuinely curious to see how many of you are still caught in that margarine trap. And if this video opened your eyes, I've already put together a video specifically for people over 60 dealing with high blood pressure. It covers a vegetable that most people assume is heart healthy, but can actually work against you when combined with the wrong foods. The link is on the screen right now, and it is well worth your time. If you want more nutrition insights built specifically for people over 60, hit that subscribe button right now. We put out new research-backed videos every single week. Your health deserves the truth, and I'll see you in the next video.